India's government faces tough development challenges. Recently, the Indian rupee has hit successive record lows against the US dollar. On December 16th, it briefly broke through 91 rupees per dollar intraday. Will India's economy collapse? Who is behind this? The conclusion first, it is not a collapse, but the economy is definitely unhealthy. The rupee has depreciated noticeably against the US dollar this year, but not to the level of a financial crisis-style slump. It has fallen about 5% since the start of the year and set new all-time lows multiple times. Among major Asian currencies, the rupee is one of the weaker performers this year. Let's first check key fundamentals. First, India's GDP is still growing. The latest official data shows that its GDP grew by 8.2% in the second quarter of the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year, which covers July to September. This growth rate is a six-quarter high, while global growth is only 3.2%. Second, India's banking sector has no systemic risks. It is unlikely to trigger chain bank failures, disrupted financial functions, or a nationwide bailout. Third, India holds large foreign exchange reserves. As of December 12th, the reserves stand at approximately $687.2 billion. This is one of the world's largest reserve holdings and helps handle external shocks and settle international payments. Why is the rupee still struggling? The key reason is that the problem is not domestic but a combination of external conditions and structural pressures. External shocks have triggered India's current predicament. India faces a real issue this year. Its trade environment with the US has suddenly worsened. Since the start of the year, high tariffs imposed by the US on India have hurt the country's textile, seafood, and some manufacturing export sectors. These sectors have lost much of their price competitiveness in the US market. As is known, when export prospects weaken, foreign capital first chooses to withdraw. When such capital withdraws, problems rise immediately. Demand for the US dollar rises, the supply of rupees increases, and the exchange rate naturally falls. India's central bank has intervened in the forex market multiple times this year. It uses reserves to support the rupee, but its actions are cautious and hesitant. Defending the exchange rate rigidly would quickly deplete reserves, while leaving it unregulated could easily spark market panic. Thus, the central bank's current strategy is to allow gradual depreciation while preventing it from getting out of control. This is actually a passive yet rational choice. What is noteworthy is that the issues linked to the rupee crisis cannot be resolved in 1 or 2 months. This reflects India's long-term structural contradictions. First, the country has chronic trade deficits. Heavy reliance on imports of energy and industrial products leads to naturally high demand for the US dollar. Second, its growth model is highly dependent on foreign capital. India is hit first when global capital risk appetite declines. Third, the exchange rate itself is used as a buffer. Depreciation becomes the default option when the economy is under pressure. These problems cannot be solved by central bank interventions alone. Rupee depreciation now provides less support to exports because trade barriers are more important than exchange rates. This round of depreciation is more like chronic blood loss for India's economy than an acute shock. There will be no short-term crisis, but it will erode confidence in the long run. It is not a catastrophic collapse, but a sustained weakness driven by structural issues. This situation often deserves more long-term attention than a sharp drop.